The Iowa Hawkeye women falling short of the Phil Knight Legacy Championship event out in Portland. UConn winning the tournament. I'll give you my reaction to the Hawkeye loss in a moment. But first, I want to thank Ascent Nutrition, their premium Ascent coffee. Check this stuff out, folks. www.goascentnutrition.com. Also, IFC, Iowa floor covering, and their Tough Core Click Together 4.5 millimeter waterproof vinyl flooring. Available at a great price. If you're undergoing a project in your home, definitely give Iowa floor covering a chance to serve you better with your flooring needs. Visit iowafloorcovering.com/DIY. So the Hawkeye women falling out in Portland to the greatest power that has ever been in women's college basketball. Number 3, UConn, extending their undefeated season to 5-0. And this was really a tale of runs, right? UConn jumps on Iowa early. Iowa then responds in the second quarter with a big quarter, outscored the Huskies by 15, I believe, in that second quarter. Third quarter was owned by UConn. Iowa fought in the final period and again, just fell up short. But here's the deal, folks. This is proof that Iowa can compete at this level. And I've said it before, Iowa's not the 4th best team in the country. I don't think necessarily they're the 9th best team in the country either at that point. Now, some people are going to get mad at that and not agree with me on that take. That's fine. I don't know that Iowa has the horses once we hit March to be able to compete with the most athletic teams across the country. Yes, Iowa fell just short against UConn today, the 7-point loss. But I think Iowa exposed itself in transition. That's going to be the big thing. When teams get up and down against the Hawks, when shots aren't falling, Iowa's transition defense right now is not very good. Now, can they make up for it with solid half-court defense? They did that in the second quarter. I give Lisa Bluter tons of credit deploying that zone. That did work. It forced UConn into some difficult situations. If you're Gino Auriemma, you probably aren't happy with lack of ball movement in that second quarter. Again, quick shooting the ball at times. When shots aren't falling for UConn, Iowa can take advantage of it. And certainly Iowa did that, scored 27 points in that second quarter. Kate Martin was spectacular, 20 points, 6 of 6 from behind the arc. And if she's playing like this offensively, Iowa's going to be a tough out each and every night. Iowa's big issues right now, certainly half-court, man-to-man defense, transition defense is an issue. Rebounding is going to be a continued storyline. Very similar issues to some of the issues the men are experiencing. The Hawkeyes being out-rebounded today, 44-28. And I'll tell you this, if Iowa wants to be able to compete for Final Fours, and that's really the next step of Lisa Bluter's career here at Iowa. She has gotten them to the Sweet 16. She's put them in position basically on a yearly basis to compete for Big Ten tournament titles and Big Ten regular season titles. They won both last year. You're going to have to better that zone or recruit better athletes. And that's nothing against girls like Gabby Marshall, girls like Kate Martin. Kate Martin, I thought, was the best defensive player for Iowa today. I really like Molly Davis. Would have liked to have seen her get a little bit more time today, but she struggled at times. But she's been really good in big moments, including against Oregon State the other night. When you're not great fundamentally in the half court on defense, you're going to struggle when you go up against athletic long teams like UConn. And they're not the most athletic or longest team Iowa could face. I mean, you hit the tournament. I mentioned South Carolina. Boy, I watched Oregon the other day. They are young, but have a number of athletes. Even Maryland, they tend to just kind of regroup every year. Indiana's improved this year, going to the Big Ten. Michigan State looks good early. The Big Ten Conference, I think, has improved. I still think Iowa can beat most of those teams in a track meet, but defensively, you're seeing a trend here. Iowa giving up 86 to UConn, giving up 86 to Drake in overtime, giving up 84 to Kansas State. I thought they played better defense the other night against Oregon State. That was a nice performance for the Hawkeye women. Oregon State 4-1 on the season now, so previously undefeated. Hadn't really played a real tough schedule. They'd beaten Hawaii, Seattle, Eastern Washington, and Prairie View, but the Hawkeyes looked good defensively in that game, holding the Beavers to just 59. But going back to Iowa, UConn, I'll tell you this, Sinano battled. I mean, she is going to have to battle down low. She does give up something as it relates to athleticism, obviously, and length. She's crafty around the basket, but she had a hard time scoring today against Aaliyah Edwards. Edwards herself finished with 20 points, 13 boards. She was 10 of 16 from the floor, also added in 6 assists. She is tremendous. And then, of course, in that second half, It was the AZ Fudge show, averaging 26 on the season. She ended up with 24 for the game. I think she had 1 or 2 points in that first half. She came alive in the second, and Iowa didn't have an answer for her. UConn was able to break that zone in that third quarter by finally making shots. They just didn't make shots in the second quarter, and it almost seemed to me like they just kind of got caught off guard, weren't expecting Iowa to go zone for as long as they did. But again, it was working, and Iowa tried to use that zone effectively in the third. And UConn kind of went through spurts where they weren't shooting the ball well, then they were shooting the ball well. And again, for the game, they shot 55%. So a lot of that's transition. I don't have the official NCAA box score in front of me, but I'm sure fast break points would indicate that Iowa's transition defense is not great. UConn is tremendous in transition, especially off of misses. And Iowa shot 42% from the field, only lost by 7. So the fact that they gave up, 13% from the field and still managed to find a way to keep it within single digits at the end speaks to Iowa's three-point shooting. Made 13 threes. I mentioned Kate Martin, who was just sensational. Caitlin Clark started 0 for 8 from 3. I still think I don't want to say she's in a funk right now, but I think she's going to play better as this season progresses. Free throws were a problem for UConn. Just got to the line 6 times, or 2 of 6 from the line. Iowa 10 of 13. But again, UConn dominated on the glass, doubled up Iowa in assists 30-15. Iowa shares the ball well, but UConn shares the ball really well. And overall, again, difference with this game, athleticism, rebounding, and transition. We saw in that second quarter when Iowa's playing effective zone defense, they're going to be hard to beat because off misses, they're almost as deadly as UConn is. Again, they give up a little bit in athleticism, which hurts you there. Is this Iowa team a top 10 team right now? Maybe top 15, top 20. We'll see. I still think they're the favorites to win this conference, but defensively, still some hoops to jump through. But this was a solid showing against the third-ranked team. But again, we're talking about an Iowa team that was preseason ranked number 4. So you expect Iowa to go into a neutral court site like this and compete and possibly win. So these ladies are going to be disappointed. You move back home. They've got a tough schedule. We've talked about it. They've had Kansas State, Belmont, Oregon State, UConn. You come back home. You face North Carolina State on Thursday, who's the 13th ranked team in the country. Then they jump into Big Ten play. Then they get Iowa State, who's number 5 in the country and playing another top 10 team this evening. So great stuff, folks. This is it's fun to watch. I mean, Lisa Bluter's got these girls rolling. They still have improvement to make, as do the men. I think most of that comes with defense and rebounding, very similar to what the challenge that's in front of the men. But nevertheless, great exposure and an entertaining game. Iowa playing an entertaining brand of basketball. And when Kate Martin plays like she did today offensively, she's going to give you what she gives you defensively. I think she should be logging heavy minutes. Perhaps the mask being bye-bye helps her a bit. Iowa's going to be a tough out. I still think it's going to be hard to compete with the best of the best. There's just so much weight at the top of women's college basketball. I wish there was a bit more parity once you get inside the top 10. But, we're staring at a 7-point loss. So congratulations to the Hawkeyes for competing well at this event. They'll move back home and take on the Wolfpack. Appreciate you tuning in for another segment. I want to let you know this. We've got Iowa women's basketball 2024 commit Callie Levine joining the show this coming week. So keep it locked right here. Iowa women's basketball coverage, Iowa men's basketball coverage, and Iowa football coverage year-round right here from the Hawkeye of the Storm.